At 17 seconds after 8:15, on the clear, bright morning of August 6, 1945, an atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, Japan. The pilots of the United States Air Force's 509th Composite Group could see flowers and gardens below. The bomb weighed 9,000 pounds and was as powerful as 12,500 tons of TNT. The bomb exploded within 100 feet of the target. The fireball was 18,000 feet across. The temperature at the center of the fireball was as hot as the surface of the sun. Near the center, people became nothing. Near the center, there was no sound. The light from the bomb flashed whiter than any white, like a sheet of traveling sun. Eyes turned up to the bomb melted. Within 9 seconds, 100,000 people were killed or doomed, and 100,000 more injured. Within 9 seconds, the city caught fire. Asphalt and steel burned like paper. Then the day grew black with smoke and dust. Over the rose a cloud of smoke 40,000 feet high. 2 hours later, drops of black rain, the size of marbles, began to fall.
Remember, I remember. A big light comes, very strong light. Never see so strong. I do not know what is happening. My friend, she and I are always together, but I could not find her. So dark it gets, so red like a fire. All is smoking dark red. I cannot see anyone. Many people run. I just follow. Pretty soon like fog, red fog, and graves, and people down all around me. Many people look so awful. Skin come off, just awful. Makes me so scared, so afraid. I never knew such hurt on people, not human. I think if I'm in hell, it is like this. No faces, no eyes, red and burned over things, like women's hair, dusty and smoking with burning. Many people go into the river. I watch them. Many people are drinking water, but they fall in and die, and they float away. Voices cry, calling names. I cannot hear because so many voices cry or calling names. So many voices.
The light from the bomb created permanent shadows, burned into wood, and etched onto stone. Leaves, flowers, and men disappeared, but their shadows remained. In Hiroshima on that day there was no panic, only ghastly stillness, the quiet of death. People moved slowly along the roads, like ghosts covered with dust and ash, and fell dead as they walked. By the river, people lay bleeding from their faces or hands, and died without weeping. People trapped under fallen houses called patiently, meekly, "Help, if I may ask." In Hiroshima on that day, half the doctors were killed. At the hospitals, between 3,000 and 10,000 people came each day for help. And each day, 2,000 of them died. They were buried together because there were too many to bury separately. people lived in the hospitals. They had no other place to go. The center of Hiroshima was a reddish-brown scar 4 miles square. Between fallen buildings lay crumpled bicycles and shells of streetcars, halted in mid-motion. On piles of rubble and ash, children placed handwritten signs. "Sister, where are you?" In Hiroshima, no one knew what had happened. Almost no one heard the Japanese radio announce that the city had suffered some damage from what was believed to be a new type of bomb, and details were being investigated. Still, the war continued. Later, on August 9th, 1945, on a hot summer morning, calm, bright, and windless, at 2 minutes after 11 o'clock, another atomic bomb was dropped on Nagasaki, Japan. The descent lasted 40 seconds. The bomb exploded several miles from the target. In a single instant, 50,000 people died. Near the center, there was no sound. The Urakami Cathedral stood 600 yards from the bomb center. Here statues turned black. The Mitsubishi factory stood 900 yards from the center. Here 6,200 men were killed or injured. The medical college stood 600 yards from the center. 198 faculty and students died. 238 were injured. The Nagasaki Penitentiary stood 300 yards from the center. 140 prisoners died in their cells. The Chenzai Middle School stood 550 yards from the center. Most of the children died as they sat at their desks. "650 yards from the center, trolley cars blew off their tracks. Passengers began to scream, and then the cars ignited and burned. At that same instant, onto the skin of some women were burned patterns from their kimonos. On the 8th day after the bombing of Hiroshima, on the 5th day after the bombing of Nagasaki, the war between Japan and the United States ended. It was August 14th. On the 12th day, wounds that had not healed began to open wider. And on the 14th day, as they stood before their mirrors, women saw their hair come out in handfuls in their combs. Hospitals filled with patients who had not seemed sick before. They were vomiting, bleeding from the gums, and purple spots appeared on their skin. Some could not be touched because their skin slipped off in huge, glove-like pieces. At first they were quarantined, considered victims of a mysterious infectious disease. Gradually, it was understood that the disease was radiation sickness, and these people the special victims of the atomic bomb. And by the 20th day after the bomb, vegetation began to grow wildly in the wreckage of the cities. From charred remnants of plants, lush green weeds and wildflowers sprung again, madly, in extraordinary regeneration, stimulated by atomic radiation. And as people died of radiation sickness, the cities were blanketed with flowers. Watching the first atomic test, Robert Oppenheimer, one of the inventors of the bomb, said,
"I knew the world would not be the same. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu was trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him, takes on his multi-armed form and says, 'Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.'"
That was in 1945. Imagine 2,500 of those atomic bombs exploding in one place at one time with a force of 31 million tons of TNT. Today, single nuclear weapons are being tested as powerful as this.
They are kept alive whenever possible, but hidden away from the public gaze. It is a prize that, though paid, must go unrecognized if society is to keep its fighting spirit or even its sanity. Against this background, the Allies made 3 further offensives before Christmas of 1915. In September, the British attacked the town of Laon, while the French simultaneously attacked the Vimy Ridge just outside the town. During the same month, the French also attack on a 25-kilometre front between the city of Rheims and the Argonne forest. They manage, after heavy fighting, to take the Germans' first-line trenches, but are stopped at the second. So, despite the resources, human and material, expended on the Western Front during 1915, the lines established the year before remain practically unchanged. The war is turning into the most persistent stalemate in history.
We have got over all right. I'm at Tanqueray on the platform.
The next big offensive, the Battle of Verdun, is now about to be launched. As the Schlieffen plan hadn't worked, mainly because the Germans didn't secure the Channel ports, Erich von Falkenhayn's strategy of bleeding the enemy is to be put into action. The Germans plan to attack the French fortress at Verdun, probably the strongest defended section of the whole front, as it occupies a vital position on the heights above the River Meuse. So, the German Chief of Staff goes against all conventional principles of attacking the enemy where he is weakest. But then the objective isn't purely victory, but to kill as many Allied soldiers as possible. The Allied plan for 1916, as agreed between Marshal Joffre and General Sir Douglas Haig, is to attempt to break in the River Somme region. The German attack starts on the 21st of February and starts with an unprecedented intense artillery barrage, followed by the now so familiar infantry onslaught. The French fall back to prepare defense positions, but the Germans intensified the attack, disregarding previously unseen loss of life. Fort Douaumont falls to the Germans on the 25th of February, and they have achieved their first minor breakthrough. To stop the rot, General Henri-Philippe Pétain is appointed commander of the French troops, and with intermission, and the fortunes of war favour one side, then the other. Except for scale, this battle is not significantly different from most other offensives and counter-offensives, and also proves to be totally indecisive, giving no strategic advantage to either side. And Erich von Falkenhayn's strategy doesn't really work either. Yes, there are almost 350,000 French casualties, but the German losses are not far short, 330,000. Summing up, total casualties, 680,000, territorial or tactical gain, none.
I'm back here in the morning.
Though no significant operations take place in the Somme Valley this spring, the routine of war is still ever present. Artillery fire, patrols, snipers, gas alerts, mud and rain. Actually, armadas are the biggest hazards in the trenches. Some 40 Allied soldiers drown daily during rainy periods.
Tonight, there is a gas alert, and I am staying up and will fill in the long hour. There is genuineness and lack of hypocrisy, mixed with a very real courtesy. There is a wonderful code of conduct and honor, which is always in the background. But with this single exception, the life is really above all things crude and sordid. There is a sordidness and indecency about it all, over which the bright traits I have mentioned merely dance and flash like the will-o'-the-wisps over a foul and stagnant marsh. The humor is the humor of Rabelais, solid and vastly funny, but seldom witty and nearly always coarse, often frankly horrible. The humor of the tap room mixed with ghastly stories in which the funniness is undeniable, but laughter is almost indecent. Jest
and Allied bomber forces are called in to pound the enemy. RAF Lancasters, using the newest radar device, rain down thousands of tons of high explosive on the enemy forces.
For the Lancaster crews flying against Germany, it was no longer fun or adventure. The squadron leader I was to fly with said, "Do you mean to tell me you don't have to come on this trip? You must be mad." As our plane throbbed towards the target, I looked at the young faces of the crew. They were brave men. They were fighting willingly for their country, and all of them subsequently died for it. But the expressions they wore had no zest in them. You sense that the reckless, devil-may-care, whiz-o-show-o-boy era had gone forever. These flyers were still heroes, but now they were part of a deadly machine. The flak began to come up. The plane rocked violently as one of them burst near us. Suddenly, I at least felt not part of a machine, but very much alone. Well, we got back that time, but then they were transferred to daylight raids, and 4, 5, and sometimes 6 times in a week they were off on their brave and thriving business. But one day, instead of being salesmen, they bought something instead from a flak shell along the Rhine, and that time they didn't come back.
Goes on, deeper and deeper into Germany, until the enemy can hardly work or move or fight.
RAF and American Air Force both ride the German sky in daylight now. And now we've just one priority target, oil. First, we flatten the oil. The Luftwaffe have around 1,500 fighters still in action. And although they're short of replacements and gas and good crews, they go on fighting to the end. And so do we. Kind of a long round trip, but we're getting to know the way by now.
While the heavies attack Benghazi, our medium bombers are sealing up the brook in the last of the little ports towards the front. That's the third part of the plan.
Rommel writes, our petrol did not arrive. By October, less than half of Rommel's supplies are getting through.
By October, the next part of our build-up is ready for action. Now we have better close support planes in the desert than the Luftwaffe.